Hi, welcome to our Cisco Security event, coming to you live right here from the picturesque slopes of the Wachusett Mountain ski area. I am super excited today because we have a jam-packed agenda. In this video, you will have the opportunity to learn about Cisco Secure Firewall 796, 797. If you'd like to learn more, then this video is for you.
Thank you, and thanks again, everyone, for being here. And I hope you enjoy the lunch. I hope this is not going to be too long for you guys, if that's what's holding you up from skiing, because the conditions look actually terrific today. So I hope you're going to look forward to that. I'll be talking about Hybrid Mesh Firewall, what that is, what is Cisco's vision there. I'll be diving into some specific details for Security Cloud Control, which brings all of that together. Go into advanced threat protection, what we have available today, and also give an overview of our latest release, which is Threat Defense 7.7. It's going to be a combination of here's a North Star of where we're going with Hybrid Mesh Firewall, and also what is available today. So it's not just going to be visionary, but it's also today you can benefit from these pieces. The main three challenges that we see our customers are facing is that everything is becoming hyper-distributed. Apps are going to be fine-grained and everywhere, so it's microservices spinning up left and right in your data center, in the on-prem data center, in the cloud. Nothing can just be inherently trusted. As you spin up new workloads, you need to re-identify identity, you need to re-establish trust. So that is another challenge that we're seeing out there. And there's more vulnerabilities that are being exploited faster and faster. Not only will I be talking about how we leverage AI to protect you from threats, but there are also threat actors leveraging AI and therefore bringing down the time from a vulnerability being disclosed and then being exploited. All of that is creating an increase in attack surface. So what is our North Star to address this? Our North Star is to really reduce the attack surface, prevent the compromise to begin with, but then also stop lateral movement. I think we all know that it is super important to prevent the threat actor from coming in. Some of the pieces there is having the latest threat capabilities, having consistency in your environments, as the threat actors, they're only looking for that one place where you don't have the policy and the intent enforced, and that's where they're going to enter. If they enter, you need to stop the lateral movement. So firewalling is not only about preventing the threat actor from coming in, but also once they are in, minimizing the impact they can have on your environment. And that is true across data center, cloud, campus, and a factory. So how we're thinking about the Hybrid Mesh Firewall is from the initial, you have this one box perimeter firewall, which does layer 4 firewalling. You need to increase on the y-axis in placement. So more and more places need a firewall type protection. But then also the capabilities to protect from these threats needs to be more and more advanced with microsegmentation, but also preventing these unknown vulnerabilities at day zero. And I'll talk through how we actually do that today. So the Hybrid Mesh Firewall. What is the Hybrid Mesh Firewall? The Hybrid Mesh Firewall, not surprisingly, starts with the firewall. The secure firewall is really front and center for our hybrid mesh concept. And that is where most of our customers have some traditional, some next generation firewall protection. With our firewalls, we are currently the price performance leader, and I'll talk a little bit about specifics there, and it's not just me saying that. We're encrypting, or encrypted traffic is really there at scale. So you need to do something with that. There's two options. You can either look into the traffic or make decisions based on not decrypting the traffic. And then we also have our firewalls being available cloud native, so you don't need to place a hardware box in every location. So now that you have your firewalls in your environment, that is protecting you at certain locations, might be at the data center, might be at the internet edge, or even on your branches. But you want to go beyond that. I believe we had a pretty comprehensive update on secure access. Secure access is part of the hybrid mesh overall environment, bringing together the firewalling of traditional firewalls into internet protection, user protection as well. And multi-cloud defense from our Valtix acquisition is protecting your firewalls or native built-in firewalls in GCP, OCI, and AWS, and bringing that policy construct in one environment. So with that, you then build up additional protection. The other piece we're adding to this is, like I mentioned, we want to prevent the threat actor from coming in. We want to make it as hard as possible. That's what the previous products were for. But then if and when something happens internally, you want to stop the lateral movement. Secure Workload is the leading solution for microsegmentation with a really broad platform support where you can deploy agents and prevent that lateral movement from east to west. We do also have a SaaS option for that. So that now allows you for segmentation in your environment as well. From here, we did recently acquire Isovalent. With Isovalent, you have an eBPF agent that sits in the network fabric, allowing you to, one, get visibility, and then just have additional decisions there. But we're taking this to the next level with our HyperShield product, where we're introducing security. There's two main use cases of HyperShield, which builds on top of the Isovalent eBPF agent, providing you with autonomous segmentation. It's learning your network based on the visibility that eBPF gives you, and then also distributed exploit protection. And we will talk about a little bit of that as well. So now you have all these security points in your network. The latest innovation that we've introduced, or the latest launch that we've had, is our smart switch. So by adding DPUs on the switch, we're now able to deliver security even on your network devices, on a switch, and even on the server moving forward. And that is infused with HyperShield. And I'll talk a little bit through how that works. And then from here, we're working on, we know that some of you might have a dual vendor strategy. We hope that you invest heavily in Cisco and are trusting our firewalls, but we know some of our customers just have a requirement of a multi-vendor, dual vendor security solution, and we acknowledge that fact. So we want to make sure that just because you have multiple different vendors, you're not left behind in a consistent and comprehensive solution. So we are also working on third-party firewall policy enforcement to really have a consistency across your entire environment. And with that, you really have a comprehensive security solution, no matter what your network needs. With taking a step back to our firewalls, the firewalls themselves, which is, again, that first step into that broad hybrid mesh story, we have a super broad portfolio. And I'll talk a little bit about some specifics there of what we added to this portfolio, specifically the 1200 series on the lower end for branch deployments. We launched a desktop model, and we launched the rack mount just recently with our latest 7.7 release. So we really have a refreshed portfolio from a hardware perspective, from the low end, the mid-range, and the high end. There is some meaningful differences in our hardware. I will be talking about some innovations we do on the software, some new capabilities, some new features that we introduced there. But the key piece is we also need to invest in hardware, and our new hardware is actually meaningfully differentiated from the outgoing generations with dedicated engines that take off some of the decryption workload from the CPU, so you can actually get decryption performance that is unparalleled by any other security vendor out there. We also have our cloud-native firewalls based on secure firewalls. So again, the policy is consistent based on or independent where you place your enforcement point. It can be classic perimeter edge, classic data center, or a cloud-native firewall that is deployed across your multi-cloud environment. I did talk a little bit about how we're bringing security into the Nexus Smart Switch, which we launched, I believe, at Cisco Live. And the way we do that is by connecting Cisco HyperShield, which is providing that segmentation, autonomous segmentation, distributed exploit protection. And we're building that into the Smart Switch. With the DPU running on the Smart Switch, we're now able to deliver that security. And it's going to leverage the exact same policy that you define for your HyperShield environment. And with that, you can now place it in the cloud edge. You can place it for zone-based segmentations or in data center interconnectivity. All of this is coming together in this hybrid mesh firewall piece with what we call the Cloud Protection Suite. The Cloud Protection Suite offers you a way to consume and purchase this whole offering. You can still purchase each individual product by themselves, and by adding Security Cloud Control, bring them all together in this hybrid mesh fabric. But we know that flexibility is key. And with the Cloud Protection Suite, we allow you to purchase across the firewall, the multi-cloud defense, Hypershield, and secure workload, all in one suite. And then you have the flexibility to adjust your licenses as you need. So that's what this differentiates from a point solution as opposed to the Cloud Protection Suite. And with that, you don't need to rip and replace. So as you have your current investment in secure firewall, like I said, hybrid mesh firewall starts with the firewall. On your journey to get more comprehensive in your security, as you add additional pieces, like for example, segmentation through Hypershield and or secure workload, you might not need all that license entitlement for the firewall. So you can shift some of that to your Hypershield and workload environment. You might add a smart switch. That then takes some of the capabilities where you previously has a firewall deployed, and again, redistribute some of these licenses. The key is, as you spin up these additional pieces in your network, you have new enforcement points. Those change, but what doesn't change is your intent and the policy you want to enforce. So that is what we are bringing together with Security Cloud Control to maintain you have that consistency. Because again, the threat actors are looking for that one place where you don't have that same policy that you have everywhere else, and that's where they're going to enter. Yeah. And you have the flexibility with the Cloud Protection Suite to swap these components as you expand your journey of hybrid mesh firewall through secure workload, through Hypershield and Isovalent for the more granular controls. I want to talk a little bit about Security Cloud Control for that unified management, as that's really instrumental to bringing that together. It is instrumental to bringing the hybrid mesh firewall together, but it's also adding specific value to every single product you add to Security Cloud Control. Security Cloud Control offers a lot of different pieces. The ones that are available today, and this is not future world, this is available today. You have AI assistance for your policies. It's guiding you through refining your policy of what might be redundant, what might be shadowed, where might you have some overlap. Many of our customers tell us they have configured firewalls over many years, some even decades. So there's a lot of backlog of configuration and policy built up. And we've seen customers that use this policy assistant can reduce their administration overhead by over 70%. We have proactive AI ops that we're working on. Some of this is in beta, but really helping our customers identify what are the best practices in deploying these firewalls, reducing the learning curve. Some of you might have ASA deployed, some of you might already be in threat defense, some of you might migrate from another vendor over to threat defense. Things are slightly different than the other vendors do. We think it's better and simpler now, especially in our latest releases, but it's different. So with AI guiding you through that workflow, giving you the best practices, that learning curve comes down for your admins. So you don't need to really read all the documentation, but rather, I need to upgrade this firewall. How do I do this? It will guide you easily through that. And then we test, especially on Hypershield, policy on real-world traffic, basically with a second data plane to validate that the policy implementations are having the intended consequences. The pieces that the AI assistant does specifically with policy is helping with the configuration. You can prompt it with, I want this user to access application Y. How do I do that? How do I enforce that? And it will guide you through how to configure that policy. It will guide you through how to troubleshoot. If you have an issue in your policy, if you have an issue with some user not being able to access, the AI assistant will guide you through how to think through troubleshooting this problem. And then it will also automate with some lifecycle management, guide you through, by the way, this license is expiring, this policy is now overlapping. So really proactively make sure that your configuration is always up to date and enforcing the intent that you have for your security environment. The AI assistance is bringing together not just what is best for firewall, and then again, what is best for Duo, and what is best for workload, what is best for Hypershield. It's really a unified assistant. Again, as your enforcement points change, you might want to deploy something not just on the firewall. You might also want to enforce a certain policy in Hypershield. So it needs to be all consistent, and the AI assistant unifying this experience will help you do exactly that. We all know management is great, but the firewall is still there to prevent threat actors from coming into your environment. So there is a big challenge with over 95% of data center traffic being encrypted today. The challenge with that is that the traditional approach of just adding another box just doesn't scale. So there's two pieces that we can do. One, like I said earlier, you can make a decision on the traffic without even decrypting it, or you can decrypt into it and take a performance hit. So we have invested in both areas. One, in dedicated hardware to accelerate how fast the decryption process is taking, and looking at the competition out there on different firewall vendors with our dedicated hardware cores that take that decryption process, we're about 2.4 times, so 240% better than the other vendors out there if you look at throughput per dollar of firewall investment. That's not just me making the claim, that is me quoting a third-party testing site, NetSecOpen, which took our firewalls, which took third-party firewalls and compared them. Beyond the Cisco firewalls on equivalent levels outperforming the competition, one thing I do want to mention is our data sheets are true to the numbers. So you can expect, there is some criteria in the data sheet of specific packet sizes, etc., that you need to pay attention to, but our data sheets are realized in real-world traffic. That cannot be said for some of the competitors out there. So just wanted to make that disclaimer, and you will see that in the publicly available NetSecOpen report as well. The other way from having better, faster hardware is making decisions on encrypted traffic without decrypting. And for that, we have encrypted visibility engine. It's a machine learning algorithm that looks at tons of traffic. So we have our Talos engine, which classifies traffic, which classifies threat. And without decrypting, we're taking the learnings from there and informing this machine learning algorithm to make decisions and inform you of threat likelihood without even decrypting. It's looking at the header, it's looking at patterns of traffic and making a high confidence decision. This is likely malicious traffic. This is, I'm not sure what traffic it is, and this is low risk traffic. So that you can then take action on that. And what we're introducing, and this is specific to our latest 7.7 release, or previously, you had the ability to differentiate between this is high risk, this is low risk. Let's block the high risk, let's allow the low risk. What you can do now as well is for this medium risk, you can now decrypt and inspect that further. So you have a much more granular control. One, you take an action or visibility without even decrypting. You know some of these challenges might be, or some of this traffic might be suspicious. So let's decrypt and look into the traffic to then make a decision with the firewall engine. The other piece that with threat protection that we're investing in is Snort/ML, which actually delivers a small machine learning module to the firewall directly that is trained based on known vulnerabilities like we so far have, but beyond a specific vulnerability protection, threat actors might have a slight variation to that, and we don't have a specific rule preventing that yet. With Snort/ML, the firewall will actually look at the traffic, will look at the patterns, and can block this traffic without even having a specifically coded rule for that. So that you basically get protection from these zero-day exploits. Once it is validated, we will then obviously write a rule and provide you with the direct protection as well. But Snort/ML is really there to accelerate that zero-day and address the fastness of AI, also helping our threat actors. And all of this is powered by still the world's largest threat organization, non-governmental that is, in aggregating that intel. Talos is working with our customers, some of them that have been exploited, and really learning, one, helping our customers to recover, but also learn how did whatever happened happen. And then inform for everyone else to protect from these environments. Given the large footprint we have with our firewalls, with Talos, running in many different network points, enforcement points as well, the richness of data is really what helps us have this high trust into our intrusion prevention and detection systems. And that is true not just for us having the high trust in that, but we are also seeing third parties validate that our firewalls are actually best in class. Some of these pieces, to call them out, Forrester specifically, has marked our firewall as a leader in the enterprise firewalling space. They've also marked Secure Workload as a leader in the microsegmentation space. We're the only vendor that has a leading product in both of these. And by the way, both of these products for us are integrated live together. So traffic you get from the best-in-class microsegmentation solution, Secure Workload, feed directly into the policy of your firewall, which is a best-in-class enterprise networking solution as well. So that's from an analyst perspective, and you see we are getting continuous recognition from other vendors on actual testing performance, like with NetSec Open that I showed earlier, SE Labs, the performance of our new hardware, really validating that we're on the right track with our investments. I do want to provide some additional information or some locations where you can find additional information, and then I'll go into some 7.7 specifics. One channel that I find a lot of customers to find useful is our YouTube channel. We continuously provide the latest videos there. We just recently added a 7.7 channel or a 7.7 video that gives an overview of that latest release. And then we will provide additional double clicks into that, where the latest features added, for example, geo-blocking. You will have the ability to dive deep into the specifics of that 7.7 release. When we recently surveyed our customers, there's two main things. One is bite-sized videos to just get up to speed on how to do things, and the other one is extensive content. This is the Secure Firewall Essentials page, where our technical marketing engineers are providing regular best practice guidance with a much more in-depth walkthrough of our capabilities that we're adding. We all know that every vendor, every different product is providing new solutions almost every day, it feels. So this is a resource that helps guide you through what are all the different options you have available and best practices on how to implement them. And this is a publicly available landing page as well, and it cross-references to YouTube. The other piece I do want to mention is we still offer a zero-cost upgrade and migration program, which helps you get to the latest releases of Threat Defense Firewall. Like I mentioned, the Hybrid Mesh Firewall starts with the firewall, so it is critical for you to have the firewall on the most recent suggested code at least, or even newer code. And we have a program here that offers you either self-service if you're confident in upgrades. It still provides you with a report to do an upgrade, best practices, guidance, but also known issues. It takes your troubleshoot files, you upload them to a secure tag case, and then based on that, it will show you some known issues that you might have and want to fix before. So as your admin jumps on that 2 a.m. Saturday maintenance window, there's no surprises coming up, but rather you're prepared. And then if your admins are more concerned about an upcoming upgrade, we also have Cisco guided assistance that really helps you, is there for you, in preparation of the maintenance window, and then also throughout the window. We are doing this investment because we believe in the success of our current releases. And we want to help our customers to get there. So that's why we have this program running. With that, I want to double click on some capabilities that we are adding with our 7.7 release, which launched, I believe, 2 weeks ago. That is the latest release. It is a short-lived release, so not all customers will consume this release, but all of the capabilities in this release will feed into the following release as well, which then the next major release will be an extra long-lived release. So one of the pieces we introduced is the new hardware on the lower end. We have made some significant investments in our SD-WAN and branch capabilities for our firewalls, and this is no different. This is, like I mentioned earlier, taking the desktop mode of the 1200, now offering a rack mount form factor with some dedicated hardware for that crypto acceleration. Beyond the crypto acceleration, you have this flexible form factor with different models available. You also have interface flexibility. And again, it is SD-WAN capable with full deployment with templates, making it easier for an at-scale branch deployment, like we have many customers use these firewalls for. And this is just the previous map of our portfolio and where this 1200 series fits in. One additional note here, you see the 4200 series being below the 9300 series, but we recently with 7.6 added 16-node clustering to the 4200. And with the 4200 being a really massive firewall, if you clustered 16 nodes of those, you will go well beyond the 9300 series capabilities. So just wanted to call that out as well. Some of the threat pieces we covered, so I think I'll briefly skip over that because some of them are actually specific to 7.7. That is for this decryption and inspection based on EVE scores. It's a 7.7 specific piece. The other piece we added, which many customers requested, is geo-based VPN blocking. So now with a new object that we introduced in the firewall for threat defense, you're able to deny access from users that are in untrusted countries or continents, or you're able to allow if they're in a trusted country. One of the pieces we're really investing in as well is streamlined upgrades and troubleshooting. It's not the most sexy thing, but it is something that most of our admins really ask for to make their day-to-day job easier. We have been on a journey to improve the deployments, to improve the upgrade experience for the last few releases. And with 7.7 specifically, we reduced the upgrade time by up to 33%. So a typical deployment takes less than 30 minutes to upgrade now. So you don't have to be terrified of these massive multi-hour change windows. And the workflow to do these upgrades has been reduced by 50% as well. Another piece we started investing in our previous 7.6 release is a recovery CLI for FMC. So in case the FMC loses connection to the FTD, in 7.6 you can configure interfaces. With 7.7 we've added some NAT capabilities as well, and we're investing further in that because especially as we rely on your FTDs connecting either to an FMC or to the cloud, you basically need this break-fix troubleshooting capability for the devices that are running. And we also obviously detect the changes that are happening in the FMC once they happened. And for the support side, with a RADKit integration, you can stream your telemetry, you can stream your troubleshoot files over to TAG to accelerate, if there is an issue with the firewall, to resolve this issue much faster.
As you just saw, there's a ton of great things happening at Cisco right here, right now. If you'd like to dive into the details provided in this video, please reach out to your Cisco account team. We are excited to partner and work with you on your next project. Until next time, take care.